it's Kismet and welcome to Fantasy And. What's Fantasy And, you may ask? Fantasy And is my new podcast, show, thing, where I'm going to research a topic that I'm interested in that is vaguely related to fantasy and then present that information to you, the viewer. I have my buddy Bowser here with me today, a representation of my familiar in my D&D game, because today we are going to be talking about bunnies in mythology. I think I'm going to be saving the best for last, and we will also get to this guy a little bit later. First, we're going to start with the legend of the moon rabbit. The moon rabbit, or jade rabbit, is a folklore legend from many areas in Asia, based on interpretations that identify the dark markings in the moon as a rabbit, often depicted with a mortar and pestle or hammer. The rabbit has different names depending on what region you're hearing the story from. It's named Yutu in China, Daltoki in Korea, and just the rabbit in Japan and Vietnam. Depending on what legend you hear, the rabbit is often thought to be making either some sort of rice cake or mochi or the elixir of life. But how did the rabbit get on the moon? Again, it depends on which legend you hear. Sometimes the rabbit is just there. Most other legends have some version of the same thing. A god, usually the moon god, comes down to earth in a disguise and asks all the animals of the forest to help them survive through a night. All the other woodland creatures bring all sorts of various materials to help the stranger, but the rabbit realizes that it can't really bring anything or do anything of worth for the person. So the rabbit, realizing that it is made of meat and humans love to eat meat, throws itself into the fire, sacrificing itself in order to feed the person. The moon god is then so thoroughly impressed with the rabbit's selflessness that it saves it and tells it that it is going to come live with them on the moon eternally for the rest of their days. Which means this legend is essentially accusing rabbits of being the most selfless creatures and the most useless creatures. During my research, it was also kind of unclear to me how closely related these legends were to the story of the moon goddess, Chang'e. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. I mean, I'm sure my pronunciation is garbage, but hopefully I'm on the right track. The rabbit or rabbits in the legend of Chang'e often just feel so bad that she lives on the moon alone that they just go to the moon to live with her and keep her company for eternity. Our next bunny in mythology is the Almiraj. You might know these little guys from Dungeons & Dragons, I sure do, but did you know before their appearance, all the way back in 1st edition D&D, they have an even way backer origin in Arabic folklore, which was also very difficult to research. It doesn't really seem like, at least online, there are that many sources for Arabic folklore, much less specifically about the Almiraj. That could be because the seeming only appearance of this little guy, he seems to be essentially a set piece in the story of Iskandar, aka Alexander the Great. Essentially, Iskandar defeats a dragon on Dragon Island and was gifted an Almiraj as a gift. The Almiraj is described as having yellow or golden, often spotted fur with one long black horn. It was a fearsome creature and is said to cause all animals that set sight on it to flee. It's pretty unclear whether that is because of its terrifying appearance or some sort of like mystic power. But from what I found, the little guy does not show up again. I did find some sources that say that the Almiraj is an Arabian symbol of ascending to heaven that lives in the desert, moving at lightning speed through the sand dunes. But a lot is unknown about the little guy, whether it's like vicious or ambivalent, whether it's even a carnivore or an herbivore is also something that's up for debate. Because they're such detail-less creatures, a lot of media has picked them up and created their own interpretations, including Yu-Gi-Oh!, ReZero, and I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level. These light novel names are getting out of control. Last and certainly not least, we saved my favorite for last, the jackalope. Now, they're my favorite out of these three for a couple of reasons, but honestly, the main one being I just found the most information about it. The jackalope seems to be a Bavarian myth that gained popularity during the Renaissance period, so 15th, 16th century, but it does also appear later in Mexico, Poland, and Asia, so all over the place. And it wasn't until the 18th century until scientists were like, yeah, this thing is totally fucking fake. But there may be a logical, scientific reason for the jackalope's initial appearance. A disease called Shope papilloma virus, which is essentially a crazy rabbit version of HPV, which for humans causes warts and growths mainly on the hands and feet. But for bunnies, the growths almost look like horns, and it primarily grows on their face. It's actually really, really sad to look at, so I'm only going to show this drawn diagram. If you have a strong constitution, you can look it up, but it's very sad. It's not bloody or anything, it's just kind of disturbing. The idea of the jackalope kind of faded out of popularity and common knowledge until much later in 1932. The Herrick brothers lived and hunted in Wyoming. Both of them were quite learned in taxidermy. The story goes that the brothers brought jackrabbit carcasses to a taxidermy shop and left them near some antlers. The shop owner mistakenly thought that the two went together and thus constructed what we see as a jackalope. The brothers liked this combination, and so they started to make their own and sell busts of jackalopes. The city of Douglas, Wyoming, where this all took place, just kind of took this lore and ran with it. The city started selling joke jackalope hunting permits to tourists. The requirements were, the tags are good for hunting during official jackalope season, which occurs only for one day, June 31st, which is a non-existent day. From midnight to 2 a.m., the hunter must have an IQ greater than 50, but not over 72. They've apparently sold thousands of these. And the city has really taken on the jackalope as their mascot. They have a couple of giant statues, a big county fair dedicated to it. And in 2005, the legislature of Wyoming introduced a bill to make the jackalope the official mythological creature of Wyoming. It passed House, but was shut down by the Senate. Killjoys. But then they tried again in 2015, and the exact same thing happened. I believe in you, Wyoming. Keep going for your official state mythological creature. But there are also such little shits about it too, because apparently some stores sell jackalope doe milk. And the New York Times published an article questioning its authenticity on grounds that milking a jackalope is known to be fraught with risk. And even the city's official website is like, you're a fucking idiot if you don't think that this thing is real. Quote, those of inferior imagination believe that the jackalope had its origin in confusion regarding a virus known as papillomatosis. While the traveler is unlikely to have the opportunity to have an actual sighting of the rare and ferocious jackalope, they will witness its strong impact on the community. And ain't that just the truth? I found an article I was researching, and I wish that I could find it again, where a Douglas local did a news interview during COVID times and was claiming that jackalopes were procreating like rabbits and were just all over the place. But unfortunately, no one could travel to come and visit and see them. Everyone was inside, you couldn't travel. Anyway, so the Herrick brothers popularized the jackalope in the 1930s, but we all know that it's fake and a little bit of fun mythical creature stuff, right? Right? Meet Walker D. Wyman, a historian who in 1969 published Mythical Creatures in the North Country, which acknowledged the existence of multiple known species of jackalopes that were residing in Wyoming, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. His book seems to greatly reference Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods by William Thomas Cox. For reference, that book also refers to creatures such as the Cote du Bois and Squonk. Wyman's book, though, seems to be the thing that just skyrocketed the jackalope into true cryptid status across the United States. So to recap, a growth-causing disease made academics in 15th century Germany think jackalopes were real. In the 18th century, scientists debunked their existence, and we all kind of forgot about them. Then in the 1930s, the idea of jackalopes are revived by two American jokester brothers. And then in the 70s, a historian gaslit the whole world into truly believing in the living existence of a jackrabbit slash pygmy deer cryptid creature. I just think that series of events is so funny. To kind of close this out, here are a couple of fun facts that I found out about the jackalope. The jackalope's drink of choice is whiskey. Jackalopes apparently can mimic voices, and cowboys often heard them singing along to songs around campfires, often as a tenor. Research shows that jackalopes only mate during lightning storms, and some say only during lightning strikes. Finally, as an honorable mention, Vulpertingers are a thing. I could not find enough information about them to give them their own little section, but I just thought they looked nifty. And they also probably have a very similar origin to the jackalope. Well, everybody, that is all that I have left for this episode of Fantasy and about bunnies in mythology. Let me know what you thought about this format. I thought it would be fun to do something a little bit different. And please do let me know if you have topic ideas for me to look into. I do already have quite the little list started, but I'm always open to more options. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Sometimes depicted with a mortar and pestle. La la la. ADZs. Ooh, my butt's starting to hurt. Research.